is going to be about the roots of the language and the people. So I'm just gonna go here. Let's just do this. So in this article here, this is an article from 2018, and it's published by the page Some Lexicological Relationship in Southern Europe. The group of African languages, some of whose words have similar origins, forms, the meanings as some Semitic dialects are those of Eastern Bantu. So the original place where everyone in the world says they came from is in the Great Lakes area. So these could be those the Bantu whose original place of abode is the African geographic region stretching because the Bantu tribes are in so many different countries, from Congo to Malawi to Mali, or their civilization was centered in Sudan. And at some point, their civilization was in Tanganyika. So this is in Tanzania. Tanganyika is so this is where the land begins. To the north, the black race was found in what was later called Egypt and all the Maghreb countries, Libya, Tunisia, Algeria, and Morocco. Archaeologists have established that the Sahara Desert was once through their artwork that they left in the desert. So the desert was full of like trees and everything. So here we could just go to do a quick search of Sahara Desert art. Okay, so this is, let's say, paintings. So this is all in the Sahara, and it's showing these cave paintings, and it's showing that the elephants, all these trees, and this is in the Sahara. So these people from the Sahara moved from the Sahara and their herds and their cattle, and then they moved back here, or they moved to Tanzania, into the Great Lakes, and established what the human race has existed before the creation dates, and that in ancient Babylonian literature there are passages about the origin of mankind, about paradise and the flood. Archaeologists found an inscription of a Babylonian king, Nabonidus, from 550 BC. Okay, and yeah, you can read this article. So here, the word was derived, and then this is when their languages were mixed up. So they didn't know what everyone was saying. So the biblical legend of the project, it said the various languages of various parts of North Africa, the Middle East, Adriatic and Balkan region, and also from Slavic countries such as modern Bulgaria, Romania, former Yugoslavia, the Mediterranean islands of Malta, Cyprus, Sicily, and Rhodes. They suspect that the slaves revolted and the project was abandoned since they used each group of slaves, and the word for Shona or Dung was replaced, becoming Munu, singular, Vanu, plural, meaning a person, in Chikalanga, which still knew and still means person. So the Babylonian god was apparently occurs in both Hebrew and Chikalanga, that deity, which is Mwari god, Musikawan, the person who dances at the shrines of Mwari. In Hebrew, Hosanna literally means save now, and is derived from the phrase Hosiana. It is, however, pronounced Hosanna and is used in the New Testament. Okay, so it is associated with the Babylonian king Nebuchadnezzar. Eventually ended up in an African region occupied by a Bantu group that later became known as Bakalanga. So this is also, so these people actually came from, let's say, Sumer. So this was this Sumer is the earliest known civilization. So I'm just doing a quick Wikipedia search, which shows us what's just on the surface of it. It is the earliest known cradles of early ancient China, Sumer. Okay, so here in the cradles of civilization, on this particular page, I'm not going to open that link. Sumerian farmers grew an abundance of grain and other crops. Okay, so this is way before Christ, which is 3500 BC, in this land of the two rivers, Sumer, right? But this land is now also Mesopotamia, all right? So here we go. All right. So here are the Sumerians, and this is what they look like. So this is their statue and how they want it to be depicted. So they are called black-headed ones here, the black-headed ones, right? So the term Sumer is the name given to the language spoken by Sumerians. So this word is now Mesopotamia, which is the land that they were in. And by their successor of King Nebuchadnezzar, they say that some of them went Bakaranga. The origin of the Sumerians is not known, but the people of Sumer and how they were depicted. And these Sumerians were just black people in the beginning, and they are the earliest known civilization in the historical region of southern Mesopotamia, which is the cradle of civilization. So from there, this is the article we're still reading here, that here, this is where we get King Nebuchadnezzar, right, the Babylonian king. So the Bantu king, the Ichikalanga legend, some Jews escaped the bloody massive massacre of the Babylonian king of Nebuchadnezzar in an African region. The legend seems to be supported by facial features of some of the Jewish people, particularly their fleshly, bulbous noses, very much similar to those of many Bantu, especially those of the Bakaranga, the Tonga, the Venda. It is important to bear in mind that, okay, so this facial feature is very interesting. And then they say that there's some Shona people in Somalia, right? And then in Totem, some in Mogadishu. Article. I think it's a very interesting parallel that was made. So here it is speaking about how people came from this land. So here we're going to go to what ended up being Zimbabwe, Great Zimbabwe, right? So it was this, and then these other structures ended up being in Zimbabwe, like but there were all these other structures or these other ruins in Zimbabwe. Bambusi, Dana, Ngomombe, Nale, Tale, Kami, Ziwa, Lepus Kopi. And then in Mozambique, there's Manyikeni. In South Africa, there's 1, 2, 3, 4. So what's also interesting is here in terms of system of ruins, also in different countries. All right. So this is in Tanzania. And this is the site. So they say that it was in the 15th century, right? So the timeline is very interesting. That was called Guru Uswa. Let's just do a quick search if there's anything of this place, Guru Uswa, right? Let's just say Guru Uswa. I've read that one, right? So this just reads any. I want to read anything. Something. This is what they say in the newspaper, right? This is Newsday 2018, October 28. So it's opening. What exactly this place like Guru Uswa is about? No. Okay. It's really testing my patience. But anyway, so this Ingaruka Dakota So here we go. This is the structure that is found in Tanzania. So they say that it is rather younger, so it may have been made a very, very long time ago, but it is in the same style and fashion as what is in Zimbabwe. So it seems like this technology or this knowledge stone structures was always carried forth. And this is in Engaruka. This is where they are actually saying that they came from in the first place. This is where Guruswa is, the first settlement, where the people came to settle after the Sahara dried up. And this is before they created Great Zimbabwe. So Engaruka may have been made in the 1700s of this place, was from before people even made it south of Zimbabwe. So this place in Engaruka or in Arusha is in the same place that's called Guruswa, the place of long grass. It's both an existing geographical landscape in which rich grasscapes of the Dande escarpment, the habitat of Kweke. Okay. So and coasted of Mondoro's fortune. Okay, so because it's speaking about how this is also within Zimbabwe. Yeah. And I've also heard that they're different gurus was. Okay. So we'll just read another one here. I've read this one before. It speaks about gurus again. So this is just the Wikipedia, right? So this is called Tanganyika or Sudan, right here. Tanganyika or Sudan, from where they traveled southwards. So without dwelling too much on that, I was on the tab of, alright, so yes, we were at Great Zimbabwe, and then we went to Arusha, alright, but then let's just look at the African map quickly, and then, alright, let's say lakes. So they say that they came from the Great Lakes, which is that place of Guruswa. So in these lakes, in this type of area, this is, okay, let's do this one. So this is the type of areas that they literally came from. So Kenya and Sudan is just above that. Ethiopia, Sudan. So this area around Sudan is stone structure type of thing. And then there's another one in that area as well. When we look at this kingdom, it was a vast kingdom. And the people had like deep roots, and all of these, they had to be so organized to have all of these areas in different parts. It's a very interesting discovery, So this is also now in Kenya. This is Thimlik Ohinga, all right? So this is another structure that's made in the same type of fashion. But then again, this one is also dated to be not like the first ones when they first settled there, but it seemed like it was created later on. So let's see, it is dated at, let's just check here. Okay, because they haven't really been so convincing with their datings. I think it might be from 1450. So 1450, we're around about the time of the Monomotapa Empire, if that's correct, builders and inhabitants. So I want to date the structure. So they say 14th and 15th centuries. So over time, communities moved into the area in the between the 15th. So the 15th century would be around hundreds, 1400s. So this was an area, but then the people here had some of the same type of fascination with these stone buildings, just as was happening to the same people who moved down from Sudan. And we say that they came from the Middle East. So I just feel like interesting history that shows. So this is what it actually looks like. This is pretty amazing. I really think that this is pretty amazing. And this is all part of Zimbabwe, or the pieces of Zimbabwe that are like scattered all over. So there are also these stone structures all the way in Botswana, all the way in South Africa. Some of them are all the way in Mozambique. Some of them are all the way in Tanzania, you know. So it's a very interesting and very, very rich history that informs so much about. So everything that they were building, so all of these buildings were actually temples, and these temples were always for God. So this is why the word Hosanna is the same for them and for the Hebrews. So this is how they're using the same words. Like here, we're talking about Hosanna. In this article, he just speaks about different things that are in common. So here, the Hosanna is in his shrine. So this is why, in the first place, these people are chosen to be good, to be holy, and to have. This is also like power. It was a science. It was an art. It was mathematics. So because of this, they used to use science and art all the way from different places that they were. So this is from the Sahara, but you also find this within the Southern African side. So it's things like that that are very fascinating. So I guess I have really spoken about most of this. So I will be doing some live sessions. I'm going to try to do these on Sundays where I just explain what needs to be explained. It'll be on a Sunday at 7 p.m. whenever it is conducive. So I'll just be updating in the community tab. But I feel like we can do this. So this has been an exploration of the Shona Semitic dialect, one of the earliest cultures that developed was first of all in Tanganyika, but then they also moved to Congo, and in Congo they had Jews in the Luba. So this is how you also find out that the same way that there is Harar in the Bible, right? Right? And then there is also there's also Zaire in the Bible. Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. Let's do this. Zaire in the Bible. I don't know why it's stalling here. Let's just open another one then. And try it again. Zaire. Okay, so this is 2 Kings 8:21, and this is the only time it's mentioned. A place probably east here. This is the only time it's mentioned. A vague spot. So this word was later on used for Congo. Invaded Edom, Joram. Yeah, so this is just the same word, and it ended up being Zaire, the actual country, you know. And the fact that they just use these words is just because they used spoke and how we were civilized, basically. When there was Zaire, this is called Zaire. Zaire. So we have the same common source. So when we look at the roots or the source of the people who were in all of you are my children, you know. So he is actually expressing that through the truth of like where the people came from. So the thing about it, or I'm just gonna close with this, you know. Let's just go back to the Garden of Eden. I don't know what Wikipedia is gonna share. All right, the Garden of Eden. Let's say Wikipedia, and then I just want to just illustrate something that this Garden of Eden, which was mentioned in that article we're reading, right? But the fact of the matter is, the Garden of Eden is just this place where there was these possibilities, and there was this other tree, right? So, what do I want to find? I want to find a picture with trees. All right. So they these two trees, but then the moment people started eating knowledge, that is the tree of life. So once we know that, then it actually helps gonna happen when you know yourself or your cells. So your cells should be yourself fit. And that's why it's people who made it, because they also had like some goodness that they had to share. So it's but no, we just need to have more life. The roots of Africa are also something that we should talk about. So this is just the roots of Zimbabwe, and find this thing or that thing, but then there's just so many things about it. That's why I believe it's the greatest. I guess we'll do this on a Sunday at 7. You can you can see me on a live, or we can